During this past week, there has been a big rumor revolving around a potential refresh of the Chase Sapphire Reserve. As of right now, I think the Sapphire Reserve is not the strongest of a credit card. A hot take is I think it's the worst premium travel credit card amongst the Amex Platinum and the Capital One Venture X. But the rumored changes of the Sapphire Reserve are getting me really excited thinking about potential changes coming to this credit card. Today, we're gonna go over those rumors and I'll tell you why a lot of people are going to hate these changes, but some people are going to love them, and I might just be one of them. I actually see the rumored changes as a step in the right direction, just not for the reasons most people might expect. And in this video, I'll explain exactly why. Before we get into the details, I want to let you know that these are still rumors. Rumors can be true. Rumors can be sort of true, and rumors can be completely made up. As of the time of me filming this video, the rumors were created on Reddit, and none of these big credit card blogs or websites confirmed any of these rumors through their sources. And I'm not any more special. The only Chase source I have is me, and I'm like the last person to know about these things. So please take these following potential rumors with a grain of salt. But as for the rumored changes themselves, let's talk about that right now. I think the biggest shock to most people is that the annual fee is rumored to increase to $795. That is a $245 increase from the current annual fee of $550. On top of that, authorized users will now cost $195 a year compared to the current $75. And as you might expect with an increased annual fee, Chase will probably offer more credits and benefits, but will those things help you? Starting with the reward multipliers, there are actually a lot of potential changes going on with things that might actually make your jaw drop. The first is a positive change, which is flights booked through Chase travel portals will go from 5x to 8x, and direct flights and hotel purchases will go from 3x to 4x. Buying flights through Chase's travel portal and earning 8x points is kind of a big deal for those who love Chase points because 8x points is a big multiplier. As a comparison, the Capital One Venture X and the Amex Platinum both earn 5x points for travel portal purchases for flights. And on top of that, a lot of people like Chase points and value Chase points more than those two programs, which makes this change even better. Although what goes up must come down, and let's talk about the reward multipliers that might get devalued. First is that the hotel and car rental purchases made through the Chase travel portal will go from 10x to 8x. That's honestly not too bad, but wait until you hear these next changes. Instead of general travel purchases and dining purchases giving us 3x points on both of those categories, they might now earn 1x points. In my opinion, both of these are a huge shock and surprise because what are you thinking, Chase? Why would you do this? The general travel purchase reward multiplier on the Sapphire Reserve, and as a matter of fact, the Sapphire Preferred, is one of the strongest in the game right now. And having a decent dining category on top of that makes the Sapphire Reserve an even better earner credit card. So it would be a huge shame if Chase nerfed those categories and brought them all the way down to just 1x. And still, Chase will not have a solid grocery or gas multiplier. Why can't we get rumors of that becoming a thing on credit cards with Chase instead? Well, that's all the rumored changes for the reward multiplier categories, but the bulk of the changes are in the benefits and credits section. The first potential credits change is that it will come with a $500 edit credit, which is broken down into two $250 credits given to you semi-annually. Chase's The Edit collection is very similar to Amex or American Express's Fine Hotels and Resorts collection. If you book at least one night at an eligible The Edit hotel, Chase will give you complimentary benefits such as daily breakfast for two, a $100 property credit for dining, spa, and other activities on the property, room upgrade at check-in if available, early check-in and late check-out if available, and everyone's favorite free Wi-Fi. Much like the hotel credit found on the Amex Platinum card, I think this $500 edit credit will be good for those short one nights to maybe a weekend long stay at a nicer hotel. Just remember that it is always helpful to compare prices through the edits portal versus booking directly, but I would value this credit at $300, even though I would use all $500 of this credits every year. I just want to be a little bit conservative and account for the potential price differences when compared to booking directly and how you would get hotel status with my other credit cards. The next credits would be a $300 dining credit via Sapphire Reserve tables, also broken down semi-annually, which would be $150 twice a year. This is similar to the Resi credit found on the Amex Gold card, except with this one, you have to book it at an eligible Sapphire Reserve exclusive restaurant. To find an eligible restaurant near you, you would need a Sapphire Reserve or JP Morgan Reserve credit card, and then go to Open Table, and there will be a filter to narrow down restaurants to where you could use this credit at. I live in Los Angeles, so you can imagine there's going to be a lot of eligible credits in this area, which goes for basically any other major city, especially in the United States. But I have also heard that there are a decent amount of Sapphire Reserve tables available in smaller cities and towns. This credit might be useful for you if you already eat at those restaurants, but if you're not one of those people, then maybe this will cover for a date night twice a year at a nice restaurant. Or maybe you're celebrating an anniversary or one of your birthdays. Either way, as long as you're someone who has access to a Sapphire Reserve table restaurant, I think this credit would be kind of easy to use, and personally I would use all $300 of it. But I do also again want to account for those who aren't near a Sapphire Reserve restaurant, so I would value this credit at $100. The third potential credit is an interesting one because it is a $300 StubHub credit given to you once again semi-annually in two $150 increments. If you or someone who likes to go to live concerts or professional sporting events, then this credit is probably going to be used to its fullest. Personally, I like watching professional games, and there are a lot of concerts available in LA, so I think I would eat up all $300 of it every year. Although this is another very location dependent credit, because if I were still living back home in Hawaii, I don't think I would use any of this credit. So with that being said, I would only value this one at $100 as well. Moving on, we could potentially get a $300 annual DoorDash credit given to us in $25 a month increments. This would be in conjunction with also a free DoorDash Dash Pass membership. I already like using my Uber Eats credits from my Amex credit cards, and I take advantage of the Chase Sapphire Preferred's $10 non-restaurant DoorDash credits every month, so I would easily be able to use all $300 of this DoorDash credit as well. Side note, I still think Amazon has a thing where you could get a free year of Dash Pass if you're an Amazon Prime member and connect your account. So if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and check that out. But accounting for those of you who don't like DoorDash and to account for the inflated DoorDash pricing, I would value this credit at $200. So far, after adding up the value of the credits that we covered, we are at $700 worth of value, which means we are around $95 short of the annual fee, but we still have a few more credits to cover. The next potential credit is an annual $250 towards Apple TV Plus or Apple Music. I'm assuming this would be broken down into monthly credits, but that makes it an awkward $20.83 per month, which I'm sure won't be the actual case. As of right now, an Apple TV Plus subscription costs $9.99 per month, and an Apple Music subscription costs $10.99 per month, for a total cost of $20.98 if you wanted to buy both. So basically, this annual credits on the Sapphire Reserve would cover both an Apple TV Plus subscription and an Apple Music subscription. Personally, I use Spotify, so I wouldn't switch over to Apple Music, but I have heard that Apple TV Plus has some amazing shows on there, so I would sign up and get at least $120 worth of value from this credit. Chase already has a relationship with Lyft, so it makes sense that the Sapphire Reserve could potentially offer a $120 Lyft credit broken down into $10 increments per month. As for the Uber credits available on some American Express credit cards, you could also use those credits for Uber Eats purchases as well, which makes it more versatile. Whereas with this Lyft credit, you're only really using it for rideshare purchases. Honestly, I don't think I would use the full value of this credits every year because I'm not taking rideshares that often. Maybe it's when I travel, but I'm not traveling every month, so I'll value it at $60 per year. Speaking of ongoing relationships, Chase has a relationship with Peloton, so another credit card would be a $120 Peloton credit broken down into $10 a month. Obviously, that won't do much if you were to buy an actual Peloton bike, but I'm guessing this would be used primarily for their subscription app service instead. I think this is a pretty much useless credit for most people, so I'm giving it a 0 value. Adding up the total value from the credits, we would be at $880 of value per year, which means hypothetically, we would be receiving almost $100 of positive value every year that we hold on to the Chase Sapphire Reserve. But here's where things get interesting, because what happens to that $300 travel credit that's already a part of the Sapphire Reserve? If it's still a part of this credit card when they do this whole refresh, then obviously it'll make the CSR totally worth it for a lot of people. This would make the card's value go over $1,000 a year, so it could be even more justifiable. Although even if it's not included, which would be a huge bummer, I think the other credits do pick up its slack and will still give you a positive annual fee or positive effective annual fee every year. Then I'm also assuming that the Chase Sapphire Reserve will still give you the Priority Pass Lounge access, Sapphire Lounge access, 1.5 cent per point value for Chase travel redemptions, and TSA/global entry/Nexus credits. And with all of that said, there are even more potential rumored changes to the Chase Sapphire Reserve. There might be something called a points boost program where points will have a value of 2 cents through frequent promotions, probably through Chase's travel portal. There's not much more information given about this potential benefit, whether it's a transfer partner bonus or travel redemption bonus or something completely different, but it would be cool to see how it works. Then Chase did something very interesting, or at least Chase might do something very interesting, which is after spending $75,000 on your Chase Sapphire Reserve card, you will be given a $500 Southwest credit, Southwest A-list status, IHG1 Rewards Diamond Elite status, and a $250 The Shops credit. I think this is a very interesting concept. Number one, spending $75,000 in 1 year on one credit card is not attainable for most people. I'm assuming you'd either be a business owner or simply be rich as to be spending that kind of money on one credit card. But on top of that, I also find it interesting because this credit could potentially give you airline and hotel status, which no other premium travel credit card does. But imagine for a second that you have the type of money to spend 75 big ones in 1 year on just one credit card. Are you flying Southwest? Would you care about Southwest A-list status? Would you be the type of person who would want status on a budget airline? Probably not. At least with IHG, you get the highest status available, and there are some actual pretty decent IHG hotels that you could stay at. If you're someone who does not like these rumored changes, then I have a few pieces of advice that might help. Because to be completely transparent, I am biased. I live in a major city. I love to travel. I have a flexible schedule to travel, and I also travel by myself. That's why I prioritize certain benefits or credits over others. But even given those biases, I still want to provide value for those of you who don't see this rumored refresh as a positive change. The first piece of advice is that at the end of the day, these are still just rumors, so nothing is set in stone yet. Until Chase finally announces changes, then we don't have to necessarily jump ship. But if we did have to jump ship, where would you go to? Citi has a pretty decent Citi trifecta, and they're building out a transfer partner list, which includes allegedly picking up American Airlines starting in 2026, which would be a huge dub for award flights to Europe, Asia, and even for domestic flights. Or you could go the Capital One route, where they have the Venture X and the Saver one, and also a decent travel transfer partner list. Although I will say Capital One better not get any ideas about making their credit cards coupon books too. Don't touch the Venture X. The next option is switching over to American Express. Sure, they have coupon books over there as well, but at least This is kind of crazy to say, but at least the premium travel credit card through Amex would be the cheaper option as opposed to the Sapphire Reserve. They also have a strong travel transfer partner list as well if that's something that you care about. Then finally, you could just stay with Chase and stick to the Chase Sapphire Preferred instead and just get your travel benefits from some other banks or credit card issuers' travel credit card. What I don't want to see is that this just becomes a race to the bottom where every bank is going to start increasing their annual fees and coupon booking their flagship top of the line credit cards. I already guarantee the Amex Platinum Card will be the first consumer personal credit card to hit a $1,000 annual fee. The point I'm trying to make is this rumored change, if it goes through, could shift more business outside of Chase, which will hopefully make other credit card ecosystems better. As I mentioned earlier, I want to talk about why I think this potentially could be a positive step in the right direction. First of all, I want to see changes to the Chase Sapphire Reserve. I don't think it's an amazing premium travel card as it is right now. So I hope that there are some sort of changes or some sort of refresh coming to this card in the near future. The other thing I'm optimistic about is that Chase will now introduce something in between the Sapphire Preferred and the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Perhaps a nice middle ground travel credit card that maybe will have gas or grocery store multipliers. Once again, I want to remind you that these are just rumors. Nothing is official quite yet. And if these rumors were true, yes, I think the Sapphire Reserve would be a great card to pick up for myself. And I think there will be a bunch of people who will also love the changes. But at the same token, there will be a lot of you downgrading the Sapphire Reserve or wanting to cancel the Sapphire Reserve or wanting to switch from Chase completely, and that makes sense. That's understandable. I would totally understand that decision because this credit card is going to potentially become a coupon book. But if you're curious about how I rank every other Chase credit card, then you could watch this video here, or you could watch the other video which YouTube thinks you'll like better. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Shoots.